Hello, welcome to the A to Z Studios YouTube channel. My name is Toby Allen. I am the A in A to Z, and I am the producer in the studio. And today I'm joined with my good friend Andy, who is the business manager for the Audio Lab, which is where I'm also the producer.
And yes, also part of Suffolk and Metal, which you see behind us. So we've started using this as our recording location for the Suffolk and Metal live sessions that we do, and also some of the actual podcast episodes and radio shows that we do as well. But one of the other things that we've been doing is actually recording albums and singles for some of the Metal Vision bands and some of the other bands that are from the local area. When we started doing that, you asked me, so what's the pre-pro? Have they done the pre-pro? And other terminologies that referred to pre-pro. And I was very lost, and it seems that a lot of the bands are very lost and are not familiar with that terminology. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like you say, a lot of bands, I ask them, have you done pre-pro? And they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Well, I always say, don't be afraid to say, if you don't know what something is, don't feel embarrassed, because that's how we learn, isn't it? Yeah. But essentially, pre-production, I think there's probably maybe different producers have different definitions of what it means to them. But for me, the main thing is just having the song structure down, having a tempo map sorted out, and having essentially a demo that the band can play along with. So you would have like working out what the tempo of the song is going to be the whole way through. If there's tempo changes, where they happen, marking out like this part is the chorus, this part is the verse, this part is the pre-chorus, solo, whatever. And that is the main thing, because then we want... So the way I normally do things, I normally have the guitars first, and then we'll do bass, and then we'll do drums. And the easiest thing for us to do is have essentially scratch guitars or programmed guitars and programmed drums for the guitarist to play along to. And then we can get those edited, and we can get the drummer to then play along to the actual finished guitars.
So what the bands would then do is they would sort of record their tracks themselves first, and then send those to you along with that tempo map and breakdown of what the different sections of the songs are, and that would then be used as the template from which you build the actual songs from. Okay.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, these days most bands have got at least one member who can record. Yeah. They've got either GarageBand or Logic or something. Okay. Yeah. So they can record themselves, and then they'll send those sessions over to me. And some bands just don't have that, and that's fine. They want to focus on playing their instrument rather than learning to record and stuff, and that's the whole point of studios. We're here for that. So with some bands, they may come in and do the pre-pro with me.
Okay.
But obviously that then costs more.
Exactly.
Than doing the pre-pro themselves.
And so on.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that's good as well, because if a band comes in and they want more direction on their writing, they've got a song, they've basically got like the skeleton of a song, but not necessarily finished, fleshed out song, then it can be good to do a bit of pre-pro here, so we can actually help. And we recently did that at the weekend. We had the band come in and they said they wanted some direction, they wanted some help on some of the ideas and riffs and things, and when we kind of did almost a hybrid pre-production where they'd done most of the work and we did a little bit extra to kind of tweak it and tighten things up, and then we actually recorded the song.
Yeah, but it took a whole day to do the one song. So in theory, if bands have a fleshed out pre-pro, then the process is going to be a lot quicker.
Yeah. And there's different ways of doing things. So for example, one band I've worked with, they don't have the ability to record themselves, so they actually record a demo on their phone at band practice. Right. And then will send me that, and then I will try and build a pre-production out of that. That works best if the band has the drummer playing to a click. That works really well. Okay. Yeah. If the band are just freeballing it, then tempos are all over the place. So it's kind of a bit of guesswork when it comes to that. And end up having to kind of stretch things to try and get it to work.
And so in those scenarios where you have drummers who are not necessarily playing to a click track, in those scenarios, do you then try and find the best tempo for the song to try and build that up, to then recommend that to them, and then use that as the foundation of the percussion for the actual song? Yeah.
I mean, we had a band come in earlier this year. They had the song written, but they had no pre-production. Okay. So we had to just basically build the song as we went, and they didn't know what the tempo was. But I knew that it was a constant tempo through the whole song. Right. So there was no changes. Yeah. So it was a case of us experimenting with the tempo and the click, then playing along to a click, no, that's too fast, playing, no, that's too slow, and then finding somewhere in the between, in the middle, which obviously takes time as well.
Yeah. And how does this then impact on the guitar playing and the bass and the other instruments in the...
It all depends on the order that we're doing. I mean, that one there, that was drums first.
Yeah, okay.
Which is kind of the traditional way of doing things. The traditional way is doing drums first because everyone follows the drums.
Yeah.
These days, as songs become more complex, it then becomes harder for the drummer to necessarily remember the whole song from their own memory without something to play along to. You'll sometimes get the drummer wants a tempo and maybe the bassist and the guitarist wants a different tempo. So that can be more complex. So particularly if you've got like the main key songwriter in a band is the guitarist, then it's good to have them there when we're making the tempo map for drums.
Okay.
So making a tempo map from a demo or making pre-production from a demo is one way. From a recording of a rehearsal.
Yes,
that's one way. Yeah. Another way is, as you say, the band sitting and recording it themselves. And if they are able to use something like GarageBand, Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, whatever, then that works really well. Logic works really well because I have Logic on my computer. Okay. I don't use it as my predominant DAW, but
it's much easier for you to transfer.
So when we worked with the band at the weekend, they had recorded 2 demos on Logic. They sent me the Logic project, and I was able to then convert that into a Pro Tools project for when we did the recording.
I see.
And so I had their demo, I had the tempo map, I had their MIDI drums, I had their demo DIs for the guitars, and then we were able to record from that. Then obviously another way is the band come in and we figure it out together, which is what we did for the Killer Corp EP.
Okay.
We spent a day and a half pre-producing the EP. It took us as long to pre-produce as it did to record it, I'd say.
Wow.
Or almost as long. It was about 2 and a bit days recording and a day and a half of pre-production.
Okay. So it is really important for bands to put the time and the effort into this, to really map these things out, to really be confident in what they're planning on doing, because then when they come into the studio, it makes your job and their job a lot easier and a lot smoother. Yeah.
If you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail. So I think it's really important to put as much time in as you can. Not only getting all of the planning done for recording, but all the rehearsal as well, because the more a band rehearses and practices the song, the less time we're taking to record it.
Of course.
And then the last way to do pre-pro, which is the way I do Vrak and Bloody Pineapples, is Guitar Pro.
Okay.
So Guitar Pro is a tabbing piece of software.
Right.
So you basically can create tablature. Those who don't know what tablature is, it's kind of like sheet music, but instead of sheets, instead of notes on a staff, it's numbers on a fretboard. So it's like a map of how you play it on guitar.
Okay.
In a simplified form.
And that then you can share with other guitarists. So this is very helpful in bands like Bloody Pineapples, where you have multiple musicians contributing to the songs. Okay.
So what we have never actually got around to doing with Bloody Pineapples is actually making a proper tab book for each album. Right. We've got like 85-90% of the way there on the several albums, but never actually completed it for whatever reason. But yeah, so and the thing is with Guitar Pro, you can also do the drums and bass in there as well. You can do vocal melodies, you can do synths, you can do a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all laid out in a way that makes sense to a guitarist mostly. And even if you don't understand any music theory or anything at all, you can figure out how to play a song from the tab. So that's really useful. But the great thing is with Guitar Pro, you can mess around with tempos as well. You can export that as MIDI and then put the MIDI into the DAW, and it will then create a session.
Fantastic.
So what I have been doing at the moment, running up to the Bloody Pineapples album, is we're tabbing everything out and then export the tab and put that into Pro Tools. I then use the drums to make drum samples, and then have the bass going into programmed bass, and I have the guitars going into programmed guitars. All the tempo information is all there, and then you have a song that you can play along to, or even send over to the vocalists, who then you don't actually have to record anything. You've just got a song. It sounds kind of naff, but it gives you an idea of how the song should sound and what the structure of the song is, and the vocalists can then start doing demos over the top of that. So you can really progress fast with getting the album done.
And when we're talking about pre-pro and vocalist, what would the vocalist pre-pro be? or is there any?
Yeah, so a lot of vocalists tend to just kind of almost store what they're going to do in their head, which can be great, but also we can forget. But I think the best thing really is scratch vocals. Okay. So what a vocalist will do is either at home, maybe on their computer, or even into their phone, just do a vocal demo, which can then, again, it can be moved into the session and can be used as a reference to sing along to.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't even have to be in tune, but it just has to be there to help remember
as a
the timing. As a guide, yeah. And what some people will do is they'll do their scratch demo and then they'll listen back to it, practice it, rehearse it, and then realise what needs tweaking and what needs changing, and then do another demo, and then keep refining it until they're ready to then come into the studio and have it actually done.
Yeah. When we've done the live sessions here in this room, we've had everyone in the room together, playing the songs, and the results have been pretty good. Obviously not quite to album quality, but why is that? What's the difference?
So, live in a room is cool. It's a lot of fun, and obviously the bands can kind of bounce off of each other and have that more live experience.
Correct.
There's almost kind of an adrenaline thing, which is totally different as well, in a good way. But the problem is with being in a room is that a lot of the instruments will bleed into each other. So you'll get bits of the guitar coming through the drum microphones. You'll have lots of drums coming through every microphone. So the guitar, you will be hearing the kick drum and the snare in particular coming through, bits of cymbals and stuff. Then you have one guitar bleeding into the other guitar. You have the bass bleeding into everything, and then the vocals can barely be heard into the microphone. So it takes a lot of finessing to get the vocals audible at all.
I see. Yeah.
And then, I mean, with an album, you'll spend a lot of time getting a riff or a section done, and you can potentially take 20 or 100 attempts at one specific riff until you've got it right. Okay. With live, you've got one chance to get it right, and that's it. And even then, you'll spend some time editing it and getting it a bit tighter with the album one. But you can't do that with live because most bands don't play to a click anyway. And then also you're getting your bleed come through. So if one guitar is out of time from the rest of the band, you can edit that guitar in their microphone, but that bleed of that guitar coming through the drums will still be out of time. Of course, and coming through the vocals microphone will still be out of time. And into the other guitarist's microphone will still be out of time. So there's no way of reliably getting it to sound, and even then, if you start doing that, you start running into phase issues and all sorts. It's just a case of capturing it. If the band are really, really well rehearsed, it'll be really, really good in time. And that's pretty much it, really. And then just kind of figuring your way around all the bleed issues.
But then, of course, that's why the live sessions are, of course, very good, because they give people that experience of watching the band performing live, and so mistakes and all are captured and are shown out there, and it's a great experience for the band as well. And I think, for you recording that must be very different to the process, as you say, of doing an album recording or a single recording, because in those circumstances everything is controlled, everything can be adjusted, and you can put together different sections and form it into one.
If I'm doing an album, I might spend 2 hours getting the guitar tone how I want it to sound. Whereas with a live session, I'm just capturing their sound.
Got you.
And I'm not having any. They're just going to bring their amp. They're going to dial their amp in how they want it, and I will just be there to capture it. But if we're doing an album, I want to make sure that is the best possible sound it could be.
Yes, of course.
And make sure that sound. You're not going to necessarily have the same sound on every single song on an album.
Exactly.
Because each song has its own emotional intention, and you want all of the parts to work cohesively to enhance that emotional intention. So it may be that you use different amp on each song, for example, if that's what is required. But on a live session, you can't
do that. No,
you can't change album. You can't change amp every song.
Same on a normal live stage, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unless you've got a huge stage and you've got a huge pedal
crew.
thing. It's crew. They're going to carry all those amps and everything.
That's right.
But it's. Like the difference between live and an album is like the difference between theatre and cinema, and it's the same when we're doing a session here. It's kind of almost halfway between a recording of a theatre show,
But as we come back to the pre-pro, the key is really get the bands all together, record the songs, doesn't have to be perfect, but record the songs enough so that you can then build something from that. The more they can do ahead of time, the more detail they can capture, the more of the mapping it out, documenting it, and having a very clear vision and understanding of what they want to achieve, the better it's actually going to be when they come into the studio.
Exactly, exactly that. And we may spend, if we're doing pre-pro with me, we may spend some time experimenting with what the tones are going to be, what sort of drum sounds we're going to have. What I'll tend to do is use amp sims on the computer to get the tones. So I'll use ones that are similar or based on the same amps I actually have. So I'll try like an Orange, I'll try a Mesa, I'll try a EVH on an amp sim, and then I know when it comes to recording which amp we're going to use.
I see. Very clever.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Andy. I hope you find this really useful when it comes to getting yourself ready for the studio. Whether you're recording with us, whether you're going to another studio, I hope you find this really helpful and useful. If you like what you've seen, give us a like, hit the subscribe, and we'll see you next time.